Hey guys, welcome back to Love Truck Garage. Well, let's work inside today. As you can see, the Arctic hammer is upon us, and it's been in the 20s and 30s for a week now. Now, I'm not complaining, my heater works just fine, so let's go. I've been working on this first bezel off and on all week, and a bottle and a half of acetone later, it's just about done. One down and one to go. I think these will look real good on the 4x4 when they're all done. Well, enough of that, let's get working on these brakes. Well, one of the first things we need to do is adjust this pin sticking out of the booster and make sure it's not pushing on the master cylinder when it's bolted together. If that pin is pushing in on the master cylinder, you'll be riding your brakes all the time and it'll be real hard to bleed the brakes. They make a special tool to check this, or you can use modeling clay, which is what I did. You want a 1/16 of an inch clearance between that pin and the master. Alright guys, well this took way longer to do than I thought it would. The pin wouldn't adjust far enough into the booster not to touch the master cylinder, so I wound up grinding about 1/8 of an inch off of it to get the clearance. I'm sure glad I checked it, and I'm all set now and I shouldn't have any problems. Now let's go pull those old brake lines out. The really odd thing about the 72 LUV was it had one brake line for the passenger front and the other brake line went down to a distribution block to the rear and to the other front brake. I'm pretty sure that was a 1-year only setup and really not the safest thing on the road. But hey, it lasted 52 years. I hit all the flare nuts with some PB Blaster and I let them soak for a bit. And if you're wondering what all this yellow paint is, never pass the truck painting new lines in the middle of the road. I had yellow down both sides of my truck. Having a fresh coat of wax on the body panel saved them, but the undercarriage didn't do so well. While that PB Blaster's doing its job, let's hit the other side. There's that distribution block for the single front brake and the 2 back brakes. The flare nut on the brake hose was the only one that came off using a wrench. It took my 10mm vice grip to get the rest of them off. I wanted to keep the brake line along the firewall as intact as possible. It was tucked in there pretty good, so it took quite a bit of wrestling to get it out. I really just want it as a reference for when I build the new line. I think I'm going to run it a little higher along the firewall when I put the new one in and avoid some of the tight spots. That's what I'm hoping anyway, but hey, I got it out. With the help of some vice grips, I got the driver's side lines both off. I think I'm going to use the existing rear brake line at least for now. I used a couple of bolts to cap it off while I'm working on it. There's some more of that yellow paint. Don't worry, I'll get to it. There's a couple of issues to address on the firewall. There's a little burr sticking out I need to grind off. And while I can get to it, I'm going to plate over where that old clutch master cylinder used to be. I'm not sure what that little burr of metal was, but I got it all smoothed out and no more problem. I'm thinking it was a little piece of welding slag or something from the spot weld underneath. Smooth as could be, got her done. Alright, let's drill some holes for that booster. I started with a small pilot hole. Then I did another round with a larger bit. I kept checking on the inside of the cab because that lower left bolt was right up to the steering column bracket. Alright, let's do our first test fit. I went ahead and got rid of the 2 clips that were on the fender well. But we still need some fine tuning on the holes. I went ahead and used a step bit to go up another size, and everything was lining up except that top right hole. It's very close, but apparently my calculations were a little bit off. But I just kept at it because there's no turning back now. So let's see where we're at. Well, it's flat against the firewall. Let's go get those bolts. Snugging the bolts up from the inside, everything looks good. Plenty of clearance with the steering column bracket. And just like that, it's sitting where it's going to be, and looks pretty good. Not bad. You got full-size GM brakes on a little Japanese pickup. Inside, everything looks good. Lines up with the brake pedal. I don't see any issues here. And there's how the turnbuckle for the brake pedal fits, and it looks like it's gonna work out just great. I don't think it gets any easier than that. So I went ahead and pulled it all apart again. I want to get this firewall all cleaned up and painted while I can. And I do want to make a plate where that clutch reservoir was. That's just a plastic cap in that hole. When this truck was converted to a V8, it was done in a high school auto shop, and a few things are lingering from that. This brake upgrade has been needed for a long time, and I think it's going to really make it a better truck. It's way too cold to paint right now, but I at least want to get some self-etching primer on this bare metal. Well, hey guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. We still got a ways to go. I do appreciate you watching, and please like and subscribe. And don't forget, hoodies, t-shirts, and trucker hats at lovetruckgarage.com.